Hey everybody, welcome back to Sacred Health. I'm Carolyn, and today we are interviewing Mckenzie Peterson. Hi, Mckenzie.
Hey
I'm so
everyone.
excited. Hey. So, Mckenzie is a model, actress, songwriter, and author based in Kansas City, Missouri. She's done multiple runway shows, including Los Angeles Fashion Week, RX Runway 2024, Dallas Fort Worth Fashion Week, Fire and Ice 2024, and Strut Fashion Tour Kansas City 2023. She's multi-published internationally in magazines, co-wrote an experimental rock album, and self-published two poetry books, a coloring book, and a calendar. She has been on a scripted reality TV show episode, feature film, short film, advertisements, and in music videos. And she has multiple new projects in the works. Hi, Mckenzie.
Hey,
You've done a lot of stuff.
I have. It's been crazy busy and I'm really proud of it, especially being in Kansas City. It's a lot harder to get into this industry from out here.
Yeah, there's like
So it's
nothing here.
oh no, it's very hard like just getting my foot in the door from out here. Obviously, I'm not just out here anymore as I'm working in other big areas now. But it's I owe a lot of my like success to like the music scene out here because I was involved in the music scene and a lot of them like tie into the like modeling and acting scene out here and a lot of them are also photographers. So to get my like foot in the door, I had a lot of people like, hey, we should build a portfolio, do some photo shoots, shoot the shit, see what happens, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how it really started.
That's so cool. That's unexpected for me. So like did you start with the how do I say this? Did you start with like modeling in your, I guess, was that your first thing that you wanted to do, or were you just like just so happened to be doing music stuff and then they're like, "Oh, you should model too."
So my childhood dream has always been famous. In the beginning, it was I wanted to be a famous singer, but I'm terrible at singing. Let's not lie. Like I'm terrible at it. I'm more the songwriting aspect. But it was always something I never thought I could achieve. Never like I brought it up and like, oh, don't even attempt. You're never gonna go anywhere. My partner encouraged me, and because I've had books full of poetry of songs, um, that kind of like branched into me writing the poetry books and the co-writing the song album. So I guess that all came first. If we're gonna be technical, it was the songwriting and the poetry books and coloring books and all of that I designed. And then I had some friends that were photographers, and I'm like, hey, I really want to get into modeling. Do can I book you and just to build a portfolio? So like to get in it, like really, sadly, you have to invest you stuff in yourself. You have to have money because you can't just go do shoots for free or get paid shoots. Like you have to pay photographers to build a portfolio. At least out here in these smaller
Mhm.
markets. Like if you're not in New York, LA, Atlanta, that this is the way you have to go. Sadly.
Yeah.
And so I just reached out to friends who were photographers and, pay them like Joey Elefritz. And he's a musician. He's also a band photographer. I did a shoot with him. I did a shoot with Studio 48. I think I paid him like 150, 200 each time in the beginning. Um, Margaret and Spain was one that in the beginning, that I paid to work with, just to build up that portfolio. And after that, after I had a small portfolio, I was like, you know what? Shits and giggles, let's just start submitting to agencies. You know what? The worst I can be told is no or not get a response. And, just started doing more shoots with photographers around. I ended up getting picked up by an agency here out in Kansas City, uh, Career Images. And once I got signed to them, because it's still very early on, I just had enough broad in the industry that was enough to get me selected. And so I signed on, and I was introduced to one of the big photography groups out here that he does stuff with his models to build portfolio, and just started doing a lot of shoots with them. And from there, we started like nailing publications and started getting more invites. I also just knew the industry prior because of the music scene. Like I said, I'm heavily involved. I have a lot of big friends And so some of them, every now and then they have a music theater, be like, "Hey, Ken, do you want to come be a part of this?" You know. Um. So yeah, it really just started that way,
Yeah.
and I definitely, you definitely got to know people because I know there's a lot of others out here who are assigned to agencies from here in Kansas City who I think they'd be a lot further if they had the connections because that's a big
Mhm.
thing. It's who you know. And I hate to say that, but it is.
Yeah, that makes a good point about networking and why it's so important. What like what could you say to somebody who is, I guess maybe just not confident in themselves or just unsure of how to go about it because it's like their first time
The
really
more
doing something like that?
uncomfortable, awkward feeling the shoot is, obviously, when I say uncomfortable and awkward, I don't mean like nude or erotic. I mean like pose wise. The more like you're feeling weird doing shit, the more better the photo's gonna be. Like, that is like one of the biggest things. And you know what? There are so many different categories in modeling. Um, there is a look, there is a type for everyone out there, and that is not a lie. There is plus size, there's alternative, there's petite, there's um just the normal. Like there's not like height doesn't even really matter anymore. You just really you got to find that one part in the market that you fit into, and you
Hmm.
really got to go for it. But like I said, it also comes down to who you know
Yeah.
because I don't think I could have just moved out to LA and started on where I am being in LA because I don't fit a lot of those normal categories when you think of modeling. I'm a plus size model. I am not technically plus size, but in the industry I am. I'm a plus size alternative model. And I knew the people out here. I knew the music scene. I did not know them out there. So it really is just finding your niche because there's something for everyone out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good point. And I like, did you, I guess here, and like to me, like the tattoos and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that's way more common now, thankfully.
Yeah.
And the piercings, like, did you meet any resistance when you started doing castings and like trying to put yourself out there to the whole
Yes.
alternative look?
So because I also act as well. When it comes to tattoos, obviously I have this massive thing on my neck. That has dampened a few opportunities, because they didn't want to take the time to get makeup artists or they didn't want me to take the time to cover it up. And at the same time, it hasn't. Like, I recently was on just a small extra because, like, when productions come to Kansas City and I get offered, it was a small role, I'll fucking take it. So I recently was a high schooler on a school bus. Um, and so like they didn't want to spend the time to cover up my tattoo, and neither did I.
Mhm.
So we actually had me like have a jacket pulled up to my chin, and I was like those weird little like high school emo kids. But so like for example, like there's that. Or there's I've had designers I've worked with who specifically picked me because of the tattoos. And others who like they like the vibe, they like the look, but the outfit they were wanting did not go well with the tattoo. So it
Mhm.
yes, it's dampened it, but it's also gotten me things. So
Yeah,
it's about a
that's good.
50-50.
Yeah, right. That's good. And yeah, definitely like, I guess because like the style of clothes that I like, it's like everybody has tattoos and like the mo as far as like the actual brand modeling and stuff. So that's so cool to know that even out here, I guess I'm kind of biased that I feel like Kansas City is kind of boring as far as like, you know what I mean, being
Yeah.
diverse compared to other cities. So it's nice to know that people out here have been accepting and open to the tattoos
Oh yeah.
for sure. How is it? Well, where was your first traveling gig for modeling? Where did you go?
Oh fuck. Traveling for modeling. I'd have to say it was LA. For acting though, it was Atlanta.
Yeah. What's
So
how would you compare the yeah, like LA and Atlanta or like New York, like the bigger cities there. their scenes or like your experiences there?
Well, Kansas City. I'll start with Kansas City. Kansas City, we have a huge presence, for like music, the music scene out here. I kind of think that's what we're more known for is our music. And so you have a lot of alternative people. All the groups out here are all kind of they all intermingle. So you see a lot of alternative and a lot of tattooed people out here. When you get into, um, we'll start with Atlanta because that's the first big market I worked in, just in general outside of here. Um, it's way bigger, you know. I don't think I ran into nearly as many people who were alternative, um, or bigger like me when I went out there for what I was going after for in that market. Um, like I said, it's all about your niche because I was going out for a reality TV show and I didn't really come across people who looked like me in the time period I was there for what I was going for. Now I feel like if I had stayed out there a bit longer, I definitely would have. There's a there's a lot of alternative people out there as well. A lot of people who fit my look. I just did not work with them at that time. And
Mhm.
same with LA. I just roamed around when I was not on set or not on the runway doing stuff. I was just out, having fun, networking, and I want to say all the people I bumped into that were tattooed. Well, actually, in the industry as well, they were all like big alternative models and musicians. So, like I said, it's definitely possible. Like they stuck more with the alternative. I like to do all of it. I don't like just doing alternative modeling and acting.
Mhm.
I like doing it all. It's a passion of mine, and so everyone was super nice. Super welcoming. Definitely girl hyping each other up. I loved it, but my experience might not be the same as the next.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's great to hear that you had such a positive experience, especially traveling, where you don't know anyone or maybe just a handful of people and
Hmm.
everything's just new. That could be really intimidating, I think, for some people to step out like that. So have you always been like confident within yourself to step out and
No.
try these new things? No.
Believe it or not, I was that girl in high school who had no confidence, no self esteem, who everyone was just waiting to get the death announcement for. Like, I had no future, no one expected me to get anywhere. I was that one that you all just knew we're going to end up not being here anymore after high school. And when after I graduated and I got out of the terrible home life situation I was in, and I actually had time to reflect on my life and what I wanted, and I was healing from the medical complications from trying to not be here. Uh, it really made me take a step back and heal, and I focused on myself for like a year or two. And it really helped my confidence and self esteem. I learned to stop caring what other people thought about me, that because I was never going to get anywhere if I did. That I was here, I survived. I'm going to do everything I can to prove everyone wrong about me. And so I had a step back on my social media presence because I didn't have a big following. No one liked me. Let's be honest. I was that girl in high school, you know. Um, so what little amount of social media I was on, I stepped back. I focused on myself. I got myself, healed. I went to therapy. I worked on getting everything I needed to be a fully functional adult in society, and then I started, you know, hanging out with friends again, being on social media more, actually started like shit posting and making internet friends and, you know, planning my way to move out of the city I was in, that I went to high school in. And as I was making friends in all these other cities and I moved, city to a different city and I started making more friends, which is where I inevitably met my partner. Um, I like to think my confidence had skyrocketed by then. You would have never known I had any confidence issues, self esteem issues, that I used to be the girl. I always wore jackets because I have a thicker layer of skin on my abdomen. It's called the greater omentum. So it's a layer of fat uh, in your gut area. Some women have thicker skin there, some don't. I have thicker skin. It was always a self confidence issue of mine. Hell, let's be honest, I still am a little self conscious about it to this day. You'll see me prefer to wear high waisted things compared to normal because of it. And I like to think now that I don't have self esteem issues, but like I said, that still does bother me. Um, so I didn't just always think I was hot shit.
Yeah, wow, that's powerful. And I mean, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that because that is, I mean, I could imagine that's sometimes hard to reflect on difficult parts of your life, but I think it's very powerful that you've used that as a catalyst to grow and change and just completely shift your whole mindset on who you are and what you want and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah. It definitely was a challenge, but I think anyone can definitely go through it. It's very hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And oh my God, I had a thought and it just completely left my mind.
You're good.
That's like that happens every time I'm doing these. I'm just like, I don't remember anymore. Um, so oh geez, Louise. Okay, so as far as like, because you said you took a break from being online, so once you started stepping back into being online and like creating your yourself online,
Mm-hmm.
using it for your business or just for yourself too, but you know what I mean? Now you're like modeling and
Mm-hmm.
promoting yourself. How do you, I guess, can you talk on people being scared to like put themselves out there online or just like be real? Because especially online, there's like,
I think in today's day and age,
you
there's a
know,
lot of people online who are either trying to have a platform or have a platform who have internet personalities, you know? And by that, I mean they act completely different online than they are in person. For example, they could act like they're the sweetest, kindest person, um, like they were the girl next door. But in reality, that's the person who's popping your tires and that type of like difference. And we see
yeah,
that a lot with I'm not calling out any people when I say this, but with a lot of the bigger influencers, people who even wait. I'm a little dog still, you know, but I've noticed this because I'm friends with a lot of bigger people. Um, that does come into play a lot, and I do think it's very hard to be yourself on social media, especially depending on how you start. Because I've always just been unhinged online, and I've had to diet down a lot because of me gaining, relevance and gaining, a bigger and bigger platform. But I'm still true to myself, and I'm unhinged in a way that is okay by society, not totally unhinged like I used to be.
yeah,
There's a huge difference.
yeah,
But
right.
I definitely think it's very hard to be like that, especially if you weren't like that in the beginning because you wanted to be seen. And so I'm never gonna hate on someone for having an internet personality because sometimes you need to get a break. You need to have a different life than the life you live, and it is very hard. Like I, very few people I know online who are big are their legit self on social media. It is an internet personality, and you know what? Love that for them, but at the same time, I understand.
Mhm. I mean, I could see how it could be tempting at times, especially like if you're going through something really hard and you don't want
Mm-hmm.
everyone to like know. I mean, clearly something,
Yeah.
you don't want everybody knowing your business.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody deserves to have some privacy, but like, you're trying to put on like
There's a
everything's
difference
good. You know what I
between
mean?
keeping your life private and then having like an actual personality. Obviously you have me on social media, so you all my posting and stuff has been the same, like
Yeah.
the whole time you've been on there. And I've recently come out about a lot of hardships, but and so for example, like I'm not using any of it to hide it. Um, And so I don't think that's what people do. I think some people truly just cannot stop posting their life online. And I had an issue with that for the longest time where every little thing that happened, I was like, gotta tell the world about it. And
Yeah.
um it's a very hard mentality to get out of. But I think separating your real life issues and not letting them show on social media, but still being who you are, isn't that hard.
Yeah. There's a distinction for
Yeah.
sure. Um, so for someone like, I guess, I mean, for me, I'll just talk about myself. So I'm kind of like, I guess as I've gotten older, I've gotten more anxious and like awkward around people, but I've been awkward my whole life, I guess in
Mm-hmm.
like the weird kind of goofy way, but
Mm-hmm.
especially now, like I'm more just like socially uncomfortable. And so for me, like trying to have a social media presence, like recording myself and like even stuff like this, I still feel like ugh. Just so it's so different, you know what I mean? How
Mm-hmm.
can someone like me push past like that fear of like people are going to
Mm-hmm.
see me, are they going to judge me, stuff like that.
The biggest thing I have to say about that is you're always going to have people hating. No matter what you do, someone's always going to hate, but someone's always going to love. And you can focus on that hate or you can focus on that love. And because either way, you're going to get both. There's no point in focusing on all the hate and all the bad stuff you get when there's already so much hate in the world. When you can focus on the positivity, you're going to make better art, you're going to make better podcasts, you're going to make better whatever if you focus on the positives that you're getting compared to the negatives. And that's a very hard thing to learn, like to unlearn to follow, like listen to the hatred and listen to the backlash.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you. And it's so, what got me with what you just said was that there's so much negativity in the world, which there clearly is. It's like
Mm-hmm.
fucking ridiculous that yeah, I mean, all we can control is our own mindset, our own energy. So like we have to be very intentional about that, not playing into
Mm-hmm.
the negative that's already happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
no problem.
Okay, so I do want to ask you, I just want to give you a chance to have a moment to like manifest and to expand upon your dreams. Like, I'm just curious too. Do you have brands that you want to work with in the future?
Yes, I definitely do. Honestly, I would love to work with like the Hard Rock Cafe brand. Like I would love to. I'd love to work with like Fenty, uh, um, Victoria's Secret. I know, like say girly brands, but like I love doing all sorts of different types of
Yeah.
stuff. I love this. You know, the dream is to be a list. Right now I'm a little micro baby. I'm known in the Midwest. My name is being set out in other markets now, but I'm nowhere near big levels. I'm nowhere near like even TikTok influencer levels. I definitely think I'm making my way, but like I said, dreams to be like A list. I would love to work with a whole bunch of the bigger production companies, bigger makeup brands, bigger designers, like Dior and Chanel. Like I would love to work with them, especially if it was with their older stuff. Like I loved their older lines.
Yeah. So like, is it like the actual pieces that you like or just the runway aspect? Like, what is it about
I love being on the
fashion that
runway.
yeah. How's
I,
that?
I
Is
don't
that
know what it is. Like it's I feel like I'm really stepping into like the divine feminine of myself. I am in those moments. I'm not, Kenzie Henson. I am the it girl. I am all eyes on me, you know, and I love the energy I get. Like I feel like I'm a whole different person on set on the runway and I just love it. I get to live thousands of different lives just as myself kind of vibe.
that gave me goosebumps. when you said that because I could just feel it like, like I'm hot shit. Like you got
Yep.
the people are looking or taking pictures or clapping. I've
Hmm.
never been to a fashion show, so I don't know what's like actually happening, but just the whole energy of it all. And like, I mean, I could just feel it. And that's so funny you say that because I've heard that similarly with musicians of like being on stage where it's like
Hmm.
they might feel a certain way when they're not on stage, but just once they're up there, it's like a whole different source of just empowerment that like
Yep.
you said, the energy, it's like you could
I
feel
am
like a
who
whole
I'm
different
supposed to be
person.
in those
Hmm.
moments. You know, that's how it feels.
That's amazing. I love that for you. I love that you've discovered that and have been able to pursue it and do it on multiple occasions now. And I love that you just decide to go for it. Like especially when previously people had just shit on you. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You're just like, fuck that.
Yeah. And
I'm
like
not gonna listen to that.
one of the biggest things I've learned is it might not be you, it might just be your market that you're in. Because believe it or not, I don't actually work as much in Kansas City as I do in like LA and Atlanta. Um, so like my magazine publications come from collabs with local photographers that I've built a relationship with out here. We'll be like, hey, I got an idea, you got an idea, let's do it. And then we submit it off because of the portfolio. But like big runway events, I get invited to the ones in, Atlanta, LA, Dallas, New York. Um, I've auditioned, I do online auditions where I'll have to send in a video of my walk and all my information, all my pictures, all that. Ooh, excuse me.
No, you're fine.
And then, I've even, shown up to in-person castings while out there. And I've done the same for here in Kansas City. And for example, I just auditioned for Kansas City Fashion Week where sadly I was not picked. But that's okay because while Kansas City might not be the market I get in, it's where I started, it's where I live. It's not the end of the world because I have all these other events, all these other productions and showrunners that are inviting me like, hey, Kinsey, come out here. So that's something I learned. I think a lot of people are still learning in the industry is just because you're not getting anywhere in your market doesn't mean you're not going to get anywhere in the industry. But that also comes with the struggles of financials because a lot of the times when you're still smaller, um, you have to fund your own way out to those places, out to those auditions, out to those shows. You might have to take a flight to LA where you paid your own dime for your hotel and lodging and travel, but you're doing a runway in front of hundreds of people in the industry. Because when you leave, you're going to leave with a whole bunch of more people you didn't know prior who are going to ask you to come back for something even bigger.
Mhm.
And I'm a bit privileged in a way that I've been able to go out to some of these smaller events that have bigger people attending and go like on my own dime just for the portfolio and the networking experience. And if you're not someone who can financially like afford that, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a good point for sure. And I mean, I guess that correlates with music too, of just, bands trying to play in different areas and
Mm-hmm.
having to travel and maybe not getting paid or
Mm-hmm.
just barely getting paid enough to, cover gas and,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a profit per se. But
Yeah.
yeah, that just I guess, do you have any words of encouragement for people who are just starting out, whether it's modeling or otherwise, where,
Definitely
you know,
find out what your local groups are. Like for example, Kansas City has multiple different photography groups. Um, the KC Photo Network, KC Boudoir Club, KC. There's another. I think there's like five of them in the Kansas City Photography Network, and it's different groups of photographers and different models, and it's free to join. You just ask to join the groups. Come out to the meetups, and you'll get to work with photographers. TFP or well, however you want to explain it, where the model works for free in exchange for photographers, and photographers work for free in exchange for a model, and you develop your skills that way. Because I have to say, a lot of, just from me in August of last year to me now, most of my training, most of my on screen experience and stuff I've gotten from just doing meetups in the group. And it's really great for just portfolio. It's really great for experience and training, just networking, and every area has them. So I guess that'd be my biggest, because you have to start that way. You might get lucky and be able to find a whole bunch of photographers wanting to do TFPs with you, even with you as a newbie, because they have ideas they want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually the more experienced, the more well known and reputable the photographer, they might not be as open to TFPs with newer people as they are with others. It's definitely a way. It's definitely a start into the industry, because, like I said, the modeling ties into the acting, which ties into the music industry. They all tie into each other, and that is one of the best ways to get started, is to just join some of these groups, start going to the meetups, start building a portfolio, because you never know what you're going to achieve till you go do it. And honestly, one of the biggest things I've learned as well, just ask. You go to a show, you see someone like taking professional photos, ask for their Instagram. You you go to any event or you're invited anywhere, make sure you network. And you say you are at a show and you've walked for a designer. You've never heard of them before till you walked for them, but you love their stuff. You want to work with them again. Or they're a designer on the show you're doing and you're not walking for them, but you love their stuff. Go up and ask. Literally, you can achieve so much just by asking, because chances are, while they might not have come up to you, they've noticed you. And so I left I left from Dallas with like brand deals because I walked up to design. I was like, I like your shit. You want to collab? And they're like, I'll do you even better. I'll give you a sponsorship. And I was like, okay, that
Yes. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah. And
So that also
that's
sorry, that
great.
also ties into
Yeah, you're
confidence,
good.
because like you gotta have the confidence to walk up to someone and be like, hey, I like your stuff, let's collab.
Yeah, that confidence, like you have to start somewhere. And then, like you said early at the beginning, the worst somebody could say is no,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. But it's like you don't know till you try.
Yeah. And you're gonna get told no thousands of times before you get told yes. I've walked in situations where I walked to someone fully being prepared to be told no and was offered bigger than what I was gonna ask for. So it's just
Wow.
all about confidence, and if you don't have it, fake it till you make it. Because honestly, at some point that faking it is no longer gonna be faking it.
You're gonna feel it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Yeah. And I think for at least from my perspective too, I can kind of look past things of where like if because I still get nervous about things. So
Mm-hmm.
like if I can sense someone else is nervous, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's relatable to me. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna judge them for it. And I would hope other people also recognize that. Like that's not necessarily a reflection of
Mm-hmm.
everything about them just because they're like
Yeah.
nervous for this one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One
And
thing.
obviously, like, there's for example, recently, I have a lot of other model friends out here. Some are signed to the same agency as I am. Some are signed to some of the other agencies out here. And there's a photographer out here. Not a lot actually pay for the models to do editorials with them to get published. Some do, some don't. Uh, One of them I was recommended to by another model, and so I reached out to them because they worked with some of our other model friends on our agency, and we saw nothing like wrong with that. So when I reached out, word for word, mind you, all the models this photographer has worked with from my agency have been the stereotypical model look, the very thin, very petite, no tattoo looks. And so when I was like, hey, so and so, recommended you to me to reach out to, collab, would you be interested? What I got back very studily was, I'll consider it.
Does that mean yes or no? What does that mean?
So I got it back with an attitude. And I will not lie, that hit my confidence, because I was like, damn, like you didn't have to be rude about it. Like, I get you're trying to shut me down because I am not the look you're looking for, and you don't want to be rude and say, "Hey, I don't want to work with plus size models," because that comes off rude. But at the same time, you had to read between the lines. They hadn't
Hmm.
worked with any plus size. It was a shot in the dark. Um, and I won't lie, like that kind of hurt my feelings. But you live and you move on. They said no, another one said yes.
Yeah, such a good point. And I think too, even if someone you're gonna ask to do something, maybe they're not, like you said, that person hadn't worked with plus size models before. Like you never know if you would be their first one. Like if
Mm-hmm.
someone would have a more open perspective just because somebody asked them.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
just
because a
never
lot
know.
of the times, like the models out here, especially the more bigger ones, will like refer their other model friends out to like other photographers and vice versa. And usually some don't have preference. They'll work with you as long as you have like a credible resume, or if they just like your look even. Um, so like I said, that photographer doesn't work with plus size. Ooh. Uh, and honestly, pretty sure it's by choice. Um, so like I said, it kind of hurt when I got the response I got. Uh, but you live and move on. There's plenty of others who want to work with me, who will work with me, who have, and so that's also a big thing. Because there's also other photographers who primarily work with like smaller models, who will also still be like, you know what, fuck yeah, let's do it. And
Yeah.
I think it's really good to hear for people to hear about some of us models who are getting bigger, have our being told no stories, because it makes it more realistic. We're still getting rejected. We're still human. We're still trying to make the dream like everyone else.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that just makes it, I guess, more relatable in the sense that, everyone will have an obstacle, regardless of
Mm-hmm.
what path you're on or what you're choosing to do with your life, you're going to hit a block, but it doesn't mean that's the end of the road for you. It just means you gotta, find a new path.
Yep.
Definitely. I've really liked talking with you. And
Thank
like I
you.
got so excited when you were talking about walking on the runway and you just like felt in your divine feminine. Because I
Mm-hmm.
love talking about stuff like that. Like that's so fascinating to me. So just to hear someone and to feel their energy when they're saying like they're like stepping into their power like
Mm-hmm.
that was really impactful for me. So I hope for the listeners too, they could feel that and just like maybe reflect on what can they do to feel like that? Like what is that for them? Because
Yeah.
everybody should have a chance to pursue that.
Mm-hmm. I definitely
Definitely.
agree.
It was so nice to talk with you. I do want to give you a chance to share, your socials and where people can get in touch with you for just to get in touch with you or to book you or whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want because I do want to be respectful of your time.
Okay, so my Instagram, I believe, is Kenzie Henson, KenziehEnsen 385. Um, that's my business Instagram. You can message me, like my stuff, find some more like my links on there. I also have Facebook, which I get no people don't usually use, so I guess it's more personal than it is like business, but it still
Yeah.
dubs as it, which is just Kenzie Henson. And those are the two I use. I do have a TikTok. I don't really use it that much. I've not been putting the time and effort into developing it, honestly. So
Mm.
if you
Okay.
find me on there and follow me, great. Like I said, it'll be like Kenzie Henson something.
Yeah.
But like the profile pictures are all roughly the same.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and I'll put all that in the show notes and also your poetry book and stuff. I can put all that in the show notes too if people are
okay.
interested in checking that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can send over the link. There one I've been having an issue with global distribution, and honestly, at this point, I've written so many more that I might just take it down from where it is right now and react add a whole bunch of more stuff to it
Cool.
because I just have a passion for writing. So I've written a whole bunch more in the time period since having these issues that I might just take it down, add all these to it, re-edit it, and go get it submitted for global distribution again. Because once it is back up, like the things I can never say is on global distribution. You can buy it at Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Amazon, all sorts of retailers.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, for sure. I'll get all that put in there for you. Thank you again for taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate it, and I had a lot of fun.
no problem. Thank you for having me. It
All
was a
right,
great
thanks.
time.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. We will see you next time.